Haiti is a Caribbean country that shares the island of Hispaniola with the Dominican Republic to its east. The country is widely remembered for the devastating earthquake that occurred on the 12th of January 2010. The earthquake occurred 25 kilometers southwest of the capital, Port-au-Prince. On that day, the Richter scale reported a magnitude 7.0 earthquake and left an estimated 222,000 people dead, with 1.5 million left homeless. In the aftermath of this deadly disaster, there was a global effort to try and save and give aid to the country, with many celebrities and artists taking part to produce the song that we now know today as We Are the World. But in this video, I don't want to talk about just the downfall of Haiti, but I'd also like to go through its rich history, its current state, and what the future may hold for the everyday citizen of Haiti. The Spanish colonization of the Americas began in 1493 on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, now known as Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This is after the initial 1492 voyage of Christopher Columbus. The original inhabitants of the island of Hispaniola were the indigenous Taino, an Arawak-speaking people who still have presence in modern-day Hispaniola. The Spanish ruled the entire island of Hispaniola until 1697, when they ceded the western side to the French. This is after decades of colonial expansion by the French, and the French named it Saint-Domingue. Once the French took possession of the western side of Hispaniola, or Saint-Domingue, it didn't take long for them to ship in thousands of slaves from Africa, which were originally from modern-day Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, and Liberia. The new land that the French occupied in Hispaniola was fertile ground for farming goods like sugar and ginger, which were highly commoditized items in the 1500s. Over the long course of the slave trade, slave merchants delivered more than 4 million Africans to the Caribbean or Antilles Islands. Cheap but mostly free labor from the slaves ensured that France would continue to benefit from the western part of Hispaniola until the French Revolution occurred in 1792. The revolution in France declared independence for its citizens, although it was ambiguous when it came to the rights of slaves and to women. This gap in the newly formed constitution of France was an opportunity for the French slaves to seize the land for their own and establish the new country of Haiti. As history has taught us all too well, no change of power can be fruitful without the shedding of blood. The slaves in Haiti launched attacks all over the country, burning plantations and killing slave owners until they declared independence on the 1st of January 1804. This made Haiti the second country to reach independence after the US in 1776 and the first black ruled country ever in the world. The revolution in Haiti was led by Haiti's first and only king, Henri Christophe. And back in France, Napoleon had just become emperor and sent his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, to pressure Haiti's new sovereign into paying homage to France for the loss of territory and slaves. In June of 1824, the French ramped up their effort to extort the Haitians and sent thousands of soldiers by ship to ensure that Haiti complied to their demands. In the end, the Haitians, not having any allies to help their cause, especially in the 1800s, and especially because they were black, they succumbed to the French force and paid gratuity to the French. This is why Haiti is known as the Pearl of the Antilles. It is the pearl of colonial France. Till this day, Haiti is still in a state of despair. In modern day Haiti, the everyday citizen lives below the poverty line. The GDP of Haiti sits at $20.5 billion and is ranked 158th out of 193 countries. It's ranked amongst countries like Iran, Syria, and Yemen, which says a lot. Haiti is also known as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere per capita. This is far below countries like Jamaica and Chile. Most Haitians live with the hope of leaving the country and being citizens of the USA. What makes matters worse is that the Haitian government is completely corrupt. The Haitians haven't had an election since 2016, with President Jovenel Moise holding onto totalitarian power. The state taxes and budgets seem to be his personal eating trough for him and his close confidants. The everyday citizen of Haiti has no real prospect for the future in the country and is either classed in the elite rich or the extreme poor. There is no middle class. The situation in Haiti is very dire, and all one can do is hope and pray for the everyday citizen. Thank you all for watching.